So we'll go ahead and get started. Uh, so thank you again for all being here. It's such a joy to be able to share this space and to be with all of you each week. I am surrounded by happy four-legged furry creatures, one of who is working hard on a bone. So if you hear a little crunching in the background, that's why. But isn't it amazing the joy that they bring into our lives? If you don't have this, then your house is probably cleaner than mine. But yeah, I'm very grateful for the unconditional love that they offer on a daily basis. Which kind of brings me to what I was thinking about for today, which was, coming back to the idea that, the most important aspect from my perspective of who we are and how we function is our relationship with ourselves, and so many of us were conditioned to not really be gentle or kind with ourselves. We develop that inner critic inside that can be really harsh, and it can be sometimes really, really challenging, in particular when we think of that inner critic as being just us. It sounds like us in our head. Very often we even use our own voice for the inner critic in our head. So we think of it as that's me, which to a certain degree is true, right? But it's also just a stage in human development. So we get through those early years of not being able to differentiate between us and anything else. And we get to that place where we need to be able to survive in our environment. We need to keep our bodies safe. We need to learn how to interact with the members of our community, as well as the members of the community of life around us. And it's interesting because looking at how our society functions, coming through those early stages is when we really first start, we start into school. And when you think about what we do in school, okay, yeah, it's all about expectations, achievement. There's a natural form of competition that's created, even as hard as teachers work to not have that in the classroom. It's kind of a byproduct of how the system works. There is a changeover where we look to our parents for affirmation, for validation, and now it switches over to the people from the school who don't know us very well or at all when they first meet us. They certainly wouldn't care about us typically the way our family would. And so we start to look and to turn to this idea of outside validation for our existence, right? And the system itself continues just to perpetuate that over time. So then we get done with school, of course, and we go out into the workforce and we start all over again, right? And every new school you go to, we just start again and again. We go out to the workforce, we start again. And the system is built on this validation, right? So the people that you work with, right? They validate, if you're doing a good job, if you're the kind of person that is easy to work with or hard to work with, or, there's all this stuff going on, right? And we think of this as the politics of the workplace. And meanwhile, that little voice inside of our head that's supposed to keep our bodies safe in our physical environment, right? Critical for driving the car or crossing the street. It all of a sudden becomes a way to kind of manage this other role that we have, this other part of our existence, which is managing the well-being or the way others around us feel and think and behave. And so when you think about the fact that the inner critic very often is beating us up because we responded in a particular way in a particular environment, right? It's trying to protect us and to control the environment, and it can't, right? It's impossible. We can't control what's going on outside of us. So the relationship with ourself then needs to change, right? So that we shift away from depending upon the outside validation and affirmation as being integral to how we understand ourselves, and making that move over to internal validation, which sounds great. And everybody's been telling us that probably a good portion of our lives is right. First, you have to love yourself, then you can love others, right? We hear that all the time. The golden rule: do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And probably the more accurate form of that, which is we do unto others as we do unto ourselves. But even in that situation, think of how often that inner critic is so brutal to us, even though like we would never say those things to other people. I mean, yeah. So how do we develop that relationship in a more meaningful way? Well, mindfulness and meditation, of course, to support that mindfulness are one of those. They're one of those paths. So as we're looking at who we are and beginning to understand that in a meaningful way, the first step is to turn inward, right? To really understand, who am I to me? Very often we find ourselves in relationships where we're trying to use those relationships to validate, who we are. It's and you notice that over time, those relationships change because our inner relationship with ourself, while may not be apparent at first to the people around us, eventually it's going to come out and it's going to come to the fore. So if we tend to drive ourselves inwardly, right? You're so stupid. Why did you do that? Like, oh, that was the dumbest thing to say right then, right? Or whatever it happens to be that you have going on. Like, oh, you're never going to, be promoted into that position, or you're never going to be good enough to do that or this or the other thing, or look how great that person is, and how amazing, I wish I was. And so those high expectations that are set for us, especially by teachers, right, parents, grandparents, pastors, coaches, the whole ball of wax, all with good intention and with the greatest love in their hearts, we then take over that role, but the voice takes it over, right? The critic takes it over and uses it as a way to try to fix us so that we can fit comfortably in the external world. Yeah, and that doesn't happen through criticism, at least not very well or very effectively. So one of the things that I love about this practice is that we have, of course, kindness, right? Kindness meditations. And the one I was thinking about for today is actually one that's, it's called self-love meditation, is literally what it's about. And it's about practicing self-love. It's about learning to, turn that non-judgmental eye of our awareness, right? Because if you notice, your awareness is not judgmental. It sees things and it takes them in, right? Sees, hears, feels, notices what's happening, and it takes it in, and then the mind goes to the past and uses that as a form of comparison to create judgment. But the awareness, the noticing, isn't judgmental at all. It's just noticing. That's what it does. That's its job. So the observing mind versus the thinking mind have very, very different entities. So this practice really strengthens the observing mind. And at the same time, it helps us recondition the thinking mind to maybe approach things differently, because we're in those habits of thought that affect our behaviors internally as well as externally so much. So again, as always, thank you all so much for being here. And we will go ahead and get started. So go ahead and find your comfortable spot, whatever that looks like for you. Go ahead and get settled in. Maybe let your head balance on top of your spine. And I will invite a singing bowl to begin us today. It's my favorite bowl because it has such a beautiful voice. Let's go ahead and begin by just noticing our breath, beginning to connect to the body, noticing the sensation of the breath. Wherever you happen to notice it the most easily in this moment, whether it's the tip of the nose, the back of the throat, the rise and fall of the chest or the belly. And just feeling your body as you breathe in and out. Maybe try lengthening your exhale and really noticing the sensation of the body. Can you feel yourself begin to relax? Feel your body, feel your muscles as you lengthen that exhale. Activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And breathing the way we breathe during sleep. I love to picture a sleeping baby when I'm practicing my diaphragmatic breathing because they breathe so naturally. Just seeing that little belly expand and contract, expand and contract. Little tiny humans tend to do this very easily, and much, much older humans. It's only in the intermediate years that we tend to worry about how we breathe or what we look like. So just dropping into your body, letting it become the strongest in your field of awareness, your body, your breath, the sensation, the movement of the breath. Really let your awareness begin to now turn inward. Hearing the steady rhythm of your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Letting your mind do whatever your mind needs to do. Just bringing our awareness, releasing any tension. Noticing your shoulders, your jaw, your arms, your chest. Notice your legs, your hands, your feet, anywhere that there may be tension in the body. And just being here with that part of the body. Offering it the love of your awareness, the love that our attention brings. And give yourself permission to just settle deeper and deeper into comfort. Going down, down, down deep inside. Relaxing into our self-love meditation. Imagine that you're in a really safe place. Someplace where there are no worries or cares. This could be a place that you've been. It could be an imaginary place. The body will respond the same. Just needs to be a place where you just feel totally comfortable and completely supported. Physically, mentally, emotionally safe. You're alone in this place. Notice the smells around you. Feel the air temperature, cooling or warming or whatever is perfectly appropriate for your place. Just feel it on your skin. Noticing the aspects of this place that help you feel safe, supported, comfortable, free. And if it feels good, take a nice deep breath of the air of this place into your lungs, filling your belly. And as you exhale, just let yourself relax a little deeper and deeper into this place, into this self-love meditation. And as you begin to totally luxuriate in this place, basking in the good feeling of not having a care in the world, Let yourself receive the words you hear from inside of you. And let them just shower you with love, like a warm rain, or the sun on your skin, or the breeze gently caressing your body. Saying to yourself, you are extraordinary. I love your laugh. I love this body. I love your tears. I love your ambition. I love your desire for ease and well-being. I love your creative ideas. And the kindness in your heart. I love your mistakes and the shadowy parts. I love everything about you. I love that you constantly evolve, that you find new ways of being, or release old habits or characteristics that no longer serve you. I love that you're a work in progress. I love you just the way you are. You're beautiful, beautiful in our imperfection. You're imperfect in the way that all things are that continue to grow and change, which is what makes you beautiful. You deserve all the love that you can give yourself. You're worthy of every drop of it. Just the way you are. It feels appropriate to wrap yourself in a hug. Place your hands over your heart. Notice how you feel. Was it easy? Was it challenging? Did it feel good, but maybe a little awkward? Trust all of that. There's no right or wrong here. There's just what is. And see if you can bring this loving of you into your each and every day. Maybe taking a nice full deep breath and slowly beginning to release. Go ahead and return back to the place where you started. Back to where you began your meditation today. Noticing your fingers, noticing your toes, feeling your body against the chair or the couch or the floor. And continuing to notice that sensation inside, that love that you felt, at whatever level you felt it. Noticing how that went. And when you're ready, opening your eyes. So good to be here with all of you today. Thank you so much.